why the frog died. It's a very simple kind of cartoon world. And if you compare that, which is really Billion's mountain, PC peak, to what's going to happen in the next 5 years, it is going to be an information ecosystem. There will be no exhaust data that just gets wasted. Every piece of data will be collected and conserved and flowed back in, just like the carbon cycle in nature. We're going to see effectively that carbon cycle harnessed. If you're not fast enough, somebody else will eat you. And anything that you don't even think is useful, someone else might turn into food. And just like in the real world, where you can go to the highest mountain or the deepest ocean trench and find connectivity and computing, you will find that as well. And so this is a big opportunity, but it means that you can't design ecologies from the top down. You can't design your marketing program and think that you're completely in control. If you love something, you're going to have to set it free. And you're going to have a job a little bit more like gardening, where you're providing fertile soil and you're planting seeds, but you're nurturing the emergence of new kinds of innovations from your customers. And we're already starting to see that, but I think it's going to really hit a stride in trillions. And finally, there's just sort of a massive business opportunity on the next mountain. If you look at the PC peak, you're fighting over the last few inches of the web and of the way that things are going today. And it's sort of like, MySpace has to die for Facebook to win. You're fighting over the last inches of the summit. But if you look at the surface area of the next mountain, it is massive, and there are a lot of opportunities for people to drive business value. So I'm not going to touch on all those, but I do want to touch on one or two things. I'll first talk about nature, because I think this is where it's probably the richest place for us to find opportunities to apply this to your marketing. If we look at nature, and we look at things like, here's a stand of trees in Utah. And it turns out this stand of trees is called Pando. And when one leaf changes, the entire hundreds of acres all change color at the same time. And that's because if you look below the surface, it's actually got this horizontal network. It's called a mycorrhizal network that weaves itself throughout this forest. And it's basically a social network. It helps take water from areas of richness to areas of drought. It helps confer resistance against disease to different species of plants. It digs slightly deeper down into the grains and helps release nitrogen. It helps move carbon from dying oak trees over to maple trees. It is effectively a social network, and they've actually discovered mathematically that some of the best routing patterns in these mycorrhizal networks mimic exactly what's happening on the internet. And so, in a sense, this is a 75,000-year-old social network. It's almost like nature showing off. This is just this amazing example, and it's something called mutualism, which is a kind of symbiosis. It's not like being a parasite.